Okay.
Welcome everyone to the Board of Neighborhood Planning Assembly meeting for March. We will get going with introductions. I'm Ryan Nick, we have a Board of President.
Councilor Field Cheever Gordon.
Sorry.
I'm Amy Vaughn. I was Ward 1, now Ward 8, and I should.
Welcome. We'll open up the public forum. We can start to make a public comment. And sort by free to do so now. You need to.
I just wanted to highlight a reminder that we sent out recently on our social and on the public forum regarding NPA trustees. If you are interested in being added to the list, you are more than welcome to email me directly at ask.org. I'll have like your contact information with the community afterwards. And if you'd rather not to have a distribution, you can find all of the press releases on our website, the police department webpage and city branch.
Thank you. Anyone else got to make a public comment, or you guys are good? Check. Lexi, you good? Wonderful. I guess that brings us to item number 2. City Council. What's that? Agenda item number 3. No, it's fine. It's your space. I would just like to thank you, Dennis, for your service on the council, that leadership and work, and the many hours you put in the big council. You've definitely been there for 4 days, and I appreciate all the work in many hours, conversations, the debates, and all the work that you've done. So thank you. I didn't bring a cake, but yeah, we were gonna have a full band come in.
Oh, yeah.
Just for clapping ceremony. Wasn't fun. Yeah. Yeah. Happy for others to comment and if you'd like to say a few words. I know you were on the NPA before your council. And we hope you continue to join us every quarter.
I spoke at the council meeting on Monday about my time serving 4 days of notice and the folks that I had invited were really critical. I was very lucky to serve 4 days for a year. It's very interesting work overall. And really, I think that there's a lot of concerns great work at the city level, specifically the Democrats on the city council have really transformed for a long time, but then in specific years, to they have been one to be in charge of policy that is making really difference to neighborhoods. And specifically on the list of Mayor Weinberger, he has been something I know that he has been an amazing man. We are very lucky to have him. A huge loss for the state overall that he will not be leading us anymore. He's been an amazing ally to me in all of the. There's been a few really tough votes during my tenure on the council. He has been the person that I've been able to turn to and through the process of it all. I also know just think that he's a great person, that I think a good friend to me. Also Joan Shannon. Joan, well, I haven't always politically agreed with her. I spent that her time on the council for the last 21 years. It is really amazing. She sticks up and leads the city in a way that I don't think any other councilor has had this before. And so we are very lucky to have her, and she's been an amazing mentor. And then finally, Lori, meeting there was probably the most favorite part of being on the council overall in a certain way. And so well, we're very lucky. Well, very lucky to be served by him. And I look forward to strong down, not to be
Okay, that's scheduled to be solar. The Burlington City, Department of Workforce Development and Workforce Development.
That's the next question.
I provide us with 500 pairs of glasses, phone lenses, lawn signs.
okay, so we take one.
Yeah, it's sort of one per person here. But that table is self-serve for all of the Eclipse things you would need. Also, I guess to open up to Ward 8 new residents and members. Like, we've been provided all this. I would entertain ideas about how best to distribute them. You know, I guess I could put them in the library. That might be a nice idea. I've also been provided a sun spotter, which is a way to look at the eclipse, not looking at the eclipse, I guess. I've been sort of reading up on it today. And so I would have tips from people about what to do. All that. Sure.
I have some thoughts. Sorry. Well, first of all, responding with the overall topic of the eclipse. There's been like with communications about safety throughout the city. I'm forgetting to maybe you guys, but someone put out an overview of like it's pretty closer to yeah, that, and then like if we reach this many people in the city, then emergency vehicles can enter. So the Xfinity TV team specifically has a website on the city's website for like love harmons and password, specific. But it has all of that FAQs that we possibly know. They have information testing. Really good to see as well. Providing all the different. There's like that really things that I'm working on, but and it seems like our chief of police puts out one report each month, and the second slide is a list specifically on what those numbers need like. Yeah. So I guess maybe not to that. Critical. And then we're talking like close right now. And then I think in terms of the classes, is it as you can think of them? Yeah. Okay, so I think bring them we can bring someone like this. I also think like people food and else I'm not sure what the last time was other than that each day for that I was given 500 strictly and then yeah, I wonder if I need not because it's like so then you have that like yeah obviously classes probably And I was thinking about that. And then we can always just donate something to the Y.
Yeah.
Like for the purpose.
Okay, library.
The library and
Oh, library.
yeah, but we can have
Where about
we have we celebrated in public forum. We introduced.
They also do have a sunspotter, like, I think they give it to the Morgan NPA to list an event of sorts. I don't anticipate posting an NPA related event during the eclipse. Do one right away. But if anyone has any particular interest in it. But yeah, it's a way to view the eclipse while looking directly at it, so.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a messing around with it in my office all day, but haven't really been able to use it, so. I guess we'll hand them out, if you'd like to take a stack or two and distribute them on college. Feel free to take 100 or so.
I do think boarding is going to be really effective. I apologize. So, but I do think boarding is going to be really effective.
Yeah, that's all we're trying to walk this is our features, your part, more. Very busy, cloudy, rain, snow or shine. Yeah. Eclipse related comments.
So, my first week is that a good place to put these would be like Boys and Girls Club and things could be seven. I'm not necessarily maybe to the kids. Probably give them to the front desk or something and say, would you be interested in running workshops? How to use these things, distribute them that way?
That'd be a good way to touch the local community. It's a lot of people second for that. You know.
See, what I'm concerned about is that you're gonna have 3 kids and you're gonna have 1 pair of glasses. So one kid's gonna use them. And he's gonna hand it off. And then that kid without glasses will go back. So that's my concern.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I think that's a very valid point. People should get their hands on pair of glasses. Like their own. And then what's this time? That's good.
I think that, well, my mom works at a library, but for Underhill, and she has classes, so I'm assuming just all the library systems.
Yeah.
There's a list at the top, just the same where in town.
Mine, I'm sorry, to declare that he's not wearing them, he's staring directly at it, so that's.
Wait, which one?
The list. The notification in Charlie's is correct.
Yeah.
That's what I've been seeing everywhere. It's just like you can buy them all these places for $3. I haven't just like been seeing places where like here's where you go other than NPA for free.
Right, you can make a profit.
Yeah, that I don't think.
I'm joking.
We also have a little lemonade down south of this here. That could be fun.
Well, I mean, if you had a lot of them, you could just hand them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
I
say
mean, that's,
that.
I mean, you don't do anybody any good if they're not.
Yeah.
Just in the box.
Yeah, I'll like actually, I'll probably just set up a table on Main Street, right in front of Memorial. People just walking down. There you go. Because that'll be a lot of out of towners, I think the day of, a lot of people into town. And also something that didn't occur to me, and maybe it occurred to others, is that people are going to stop on the highway when it occurs if they haven't made it to their destination, which is frightening. And just like get out of their car on 89, which is I think what some of the real concerns are.
Yeah.
Because people can deal with a lot of people and a lot of traffic, like that's one thing, but it's not in your car, there's things. Anyways, older clips, good. That's fine. Yes, there's, do you have any comments about that? Yes. Many months.
You know, I think it's very nice.
Yeah.
I can run the library bus there.
I think they must.
Yeah.
You would be shocked. It's like more.
I do wish though, I don't know, maybe this is stuff like that, I don't have traffic. I wish there was some more like so the city was saying, here's everybody to get it for free. I just keep saying everybody can buy it. That's like, I'm all the official publication.
Well, I'm sure this is the point.
Yeah.
We do. But I also want everybody.
So these are available for $5.99. You can put Venmo, the word NPA.
How much was some spotters?
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Yeah, we'll be looking at like the 30-second block. So get your spot now. Yeah. All right. Very good. Let's see. Excellent. Thank you. All right. You're getting locations. So right now we're technically in Ward 3. In my very short stint on the steering committee, this location has been good to us. It's worked out for us. It's easy to book. It's mutually available. It's known to us, but it might not be the most accessible for Ward 8 residents. So to reduce turnout, which has been running a problem for a couple months now. So if you guys have any ideas about where to meet, also know where I want it to be. And on this section,
He's on his way.
He's on his way. I figured. You know, I'm sure Champlain College, the might have spaces.
Also, the college is not like doing it.
Yeah. Before that.
That's not being at the university.
Is it a good time to talk about potential combination of solve, well, but partially,
Yeah.
address the location issue, or at least it would be an avenue to discuss the location issue.
This is the highest turnout of 4 day residents so far.
Right.
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay.
I don't think it's
I'm, well, I can give a little weather report of 5, because John, so I'm student committee report 1. And we were talking about the Ward 1 NPA and its direction. And so you spoke to Ryan about Ward 8. The reason it came up, we were walking the dog and he had supported NPA sign out front, and the signs still say
Yeah.
Ward 1 and Ward 8 NPA. They can make new signs after the schism. And he said, all it would take was a phone call to talk it over. So I think they would be amenable to it. The question for this NPA is, does that serve the interest of the NPA?
Right.
And does it, does it positive impacts, does it negative impacts?
I think to be clear about it, they Ward 1 has been nothing but welcome. Also, well, we're on the new meeting location. So, but they've been nothing but welcoming, nothing but warm to me. And they're like, hey, let's rejoin. from what I've heard from other previous Ward 8 members is that, you know, the Ward 1 is so robust that Ward 8 tends to get a little overshadowed.
The reality is, a lot of the engaged for the residents organized with at least
I think so.
like that, this happens like the Bradley Street. So, and then they're with then all ordinance and authority, like they, like I think they would do better than each.
So they're already up.
I mean, I like, they're, I use the new words, it's what was that, there's no here, and also, the other thing about him. Anymore, it's like, the student thing, like making sure you're balancing that is, a huge issue, issues brought up. Involved activity straight, and then further outreach, wiring on campus, and be easier to do, already got better. But then also what goes on with the presidents. But then that's also. So that's why I have to do it next time on campus. Yeah, parking, it's kind of, which is good, how we, okay, think about this like that. You feel right?
Yeah. And I would have opposed to it, just didn't want to make a decision. Ward 8.
I wasn't involved when it happened. I understand that some of it was written by you. Issue, question, hard feelings that were written by that. What about?
Thank you guys.
Yeah. We have not had.
I mean, it's certainly always.
Yeah.
And I do think we should be mindful of that, right? Yeah. These are city resources, so. Anybody either, but also like. They're city resources, they're city council resources. And it doesn't dictate a decision. It's just on a scale. Yeah. Apologize for being late. I was on track 17, other councilors, that would be weird. So I talked to Ryan to put this item on the agenda. I honestly find it valuable that the Ward 8 NPA is in Ward 8. So hearing all of your arguments for combining Ward 1, I think they're all completely valid. It's definitely one of the options that we should look into, especially if the long-term resident folks from Ward 8 are full-time NPAs. I think it's something we can look into. I do worry about the needs of Ward 8, the needs of Ward 8 being way overshadowed in compensation because they are so robust and well run. Ward 1. And so the location that I have been dancing around with Waterman Hall, it's on the western side of the campus. It's a centralized location in Ward 8. It sits about halfway between the main UVM campus and the Bradley College neighborhoods. Of course, having to pay for a room and the trouble with parking is something that we would have to hash out and negotiate. I understand that. However, I think having a centralized location such as that would be advantageous if we do choose to continue having a separate board aid. And I'd love to see what we could find by reaching out and asking about making that the location. That's a second option that doesn't help as much with the idea of having a centralized location, but if we want to keep it in Ward 8, but the free library
Close.
closed.
We did, that was the whole issue with it. We had a couple meetings there, and they, well, we had like, 5 p.m. or something.
They have to have their stand.
Yeah.
People there.
I think the whole building's open.
I know, is that like, that, it was great when we had it there, but it's just. And we tried the Y too.
Yeah. Oh, what happened at the last one?
They have like really loud air vent things that messes up. I know, that's like all of the, and then I agree with all this.
Yeah.
It's like
They're not available.
yeah.
Sure. Still work great.
Yeah. Duh.
So we, we can do it on the lawn in the library.
They have a really.
I was just gonna say, I think we tried to mention this to you, Ryan, before the meeting started, or to someone. I know that currently Ward 6 does their meeting at Champlain College. They have a connection there with someone, so they're able to use this space for free. And they have all the technology and everything, which allows for the meetings to happen. Technically, Champlain College is now in Ward 8, so theoretically, maybe, possibly there could be conversations about using that space too.
Yeah.
I could probably get that contact information for you.
It might be a little bit.
Yeah.
You're
I don't
all
know.
close.
It would be like on the southern border, it would be the exact opposite corner of those, Roger Street, Public Street.
I think. There's nothing parking lots.
Well, you can park on Maple Street actually, right by Champlain College. People could walk.
Yeah, like, I think. We're never gonna find a great place to park.
I think.
People should just walk.
Yeah.
And maybe that looks like. Down, but it's. What are the goals? What is important? And what is important for the city? Essentially, for the men go to. We want a standing item on the agenda that highlights blah, blah, blah issue.
Sure. You'll still need to deal with location, because presumably you don't want to have, if you do combine with them, there's one on, like, alternate, right?
Presumably, but I don't know how it happened. They seem to have a good thing going on the hill.
Yeah, I was just doing yeah, we did do that for a while.
So that all could be.
But I mean,
I've never been to it.
that was totally out of the way. I mean, the part of the Ward 1 location is parking, it's close to campus. I'm thinking that's not a bad block. That's like you can engage a bunch of folks. It's a little bit out of the way from the broadly fuel.
It might be a little small though, like I think already, like Ward 1 space at times is pretty small for the number of people that are going there just as Ward 1 residents, so I'm not sure that it would be able to hold even more people, let alone parking there. I think the parking lot's pretty small. However, definitely good point.
So I can give you some more feedback on Champlain. So right now, the first Thursday of the month, Ward 6 is already having their meetings up there. So there's actually already a room vacant, sitting there waiting for it. It's free. As far as the parking is concerned, so you can, probably none of you are familiar with Champlain, but on that street, it's not Prospect, it's one down to it, so Summit must be Summit Street.
Yeah.
So if you access, so if you go take this little lane called Cedar Lane, it goes in behind all the big buildings. And so before the NPA meetings on the first Thursday of the month, there's actually 10 spaces because it's after 6. There's like 10, 15 spaces in there. And then there's also a big sign that says, if you can't find a space here, just go back out onto the street, go down about 100 feet, and there's another large parking lot there that can take as many vehicles as you ever put in. So right now, my personal impression is that you should probably talk to Champlain because they're already waiting.
Yes.
They've got the room and they've got the parking and they're already set up with all the, because we already do meetings there, so we're already accustomed to doing meetings there. So that would be my suggestion that you talk about. You know who Nick Anderson is? Nick Anderson from Champlain.
Sounds so.
Nick Anderson's the guy that talked.
NICK or NIC?
I believe NIC, I think.
I was gonna say, okay.
And I think we have some,
Homework to do.
yeah, we have 2 directions.
I can figure it out.
Post on which one.
Yeah,
Oh, like Joan does.
yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do something like that on this, just like.
That was a common question. It's largely it.
Like, how's that work?
Right now, it's just me.
Okay.
It is, and yeah, I really got a good handle on it.
You always little.
Yeah. Walking for them. Okay.
I mean, you don't have to follow Robert's rules. They're not required for NPAs.
Sorry, we make a motion to adopt the
Well,
agenda.
if you said you don't, then you don't need to go with them, you don't.
Anyways.
The majority, in Ward 1, there's no.
I didn't want to stop the reading.
I feel like Ward 1, those folks follow the rules, so they don't do it.
The steering committee is begging for more volunteers. And your service will be welcome and honored.
Speak it enough of the heroes.
Yeah, so I guess after we're done here, we'll get emails and phone numbers and all, post you in or something. However it works. All right, so we adjourn.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna, if you want, I can speak briefly about what it means to be on the steering committee and if you want. Okay. So yeah, I'm Fosca. I work with CETO. I'm the NPA Public Engagement Specialist. I basically act as a liaison between the NPAs and the city. So yeah, basically being on the steering committee, kind of the expectations are that you basically, kind of collect input from, residents about what they would like to have on the agenda. Sometimes people fill out forms to present at the NPAs. But basically you work as a group, as a steering committee to put together agendas, work out logistics, facilitate meetings, and remain in contact with me to send me agendas and meeting minutes and everything so I can post it. And then, yeah, so that's basically generally what it is. And then also each NPA has funds each year. This fiscal year, it's been $2,500 per ward. I'm not sure what it'll be next year. So the steering committee also manages those funds. And if they do purchases on behalf of the NPA, even things like food, or you want to do some sort of community event, or you have to pay for a space, then like dealing with that process, reimbursement process too, and payment for that. So yeah, so generally there's about the other NPAs have more steering committee members. They generally meet a week after their NPA meeting to start planning the next NPA meeting. But I think it depends on how involved you want to be, how much time you have on your hands. I think different people have different capacities and help out in different ways. But yeah, I think it's a great way to get involved. But I think, yeah, Hannah was also on the steering committee at one point and can speak to it. But yeah, so also if you have any questions, obviously you can ask Ryan or Hannah or anyone, and I'm also a resource if you'd like.
Do you know where the funds were they?
I think we've gotten some pieces for our first meeting. So we have $2,400 in change.
I don't know if you need there.
But they were,
You cannot carry over to the next fiscal year, so that might be a good next agenda item to talk about ways that you can use those funds. It's pretty broad as long as you are using those funds for the mission of the NPA. So you could even potentially fund some like community projects, things like that. So definitely something to keep in mind because it's a good amount of money, you know.
When was
The fiscal year ends at the end of June 2024. So until then.
So I have, and this has been more. Just consciousness. One, I have always been really mindful of the separation between people who are on the city council and the NPA steering committee, right? And so city council is not in charge of the NPA, and the NPAs have their own steering committees and they're independent. That's the way it's supposed to be. So I'm always cautious about not bigfooting the NPA. I do think though, so with that caveat, the risk of immediately violating the rule that I just set out for myself, I do think that if there's $2,400 sitting there, there's got to be plenty of wonderful things that can be done now June that, and you know, whether it's neighborhood cleanup project, or has a lot of it has you know, it has elder communities in it, right? It have at least one very significant elder assisted living community in it. It's got the library, it's got a lot of stuff. There's a lot of, it's a long way of winded way of saying be ashamed. You, not me, you
as in the steering committee.
you as
The NPA. Yes. I mean, yeah, it would be a decision of the body. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the steering committee is.
We can carry it over, we might as well spend it.
Again, mindful of the separation.
No,
It's gentle.
I appreciate it and all, but
Okay, so you've got to come up with a plan. And plan your event, but, and then spend your money, but all your receipts have to be into the city very early in June.
Yeah.
Okay, so even though the fiscal year doesn't end until the last of June, you've got to get the receipts in so the city can process them and get the checks out of the nurse. So Steve's going to be asking for your receipts really close to the first of the month. So you've got to.
we're going to make this decision at the end of April, presumably have an event in May. And then have those receipts more or less immediately to you.
So you could do like an event on the Union campus or Champlain College campus. They also do like a barbecue right on campus.
Yeah.
Last thing I'm saying before I forget is, so that's a good reason for Ward 1 to welcome you guys into their fold, because you've got $2,500 a year. And because they have to pay $100 a month in your space, they never have much money to do anything. So they'd be very happy to, I'm sure, because of just the fact that we give them more flexibility. Because they tend to do a lot of projects.
Sure.
So they can have a lot of enthusiasm. So,
What are, sorry, John.
go ahead.
What are the rules in terms of, you said they were pretty broad. What are the rules?
Yeah. Basically, there's some guidelines. You would just have to basically ask me for approval for the funds. Trying to think of something that wouldn't be allowed. And like paying yourselves to like I don't know, do something.
That it technically has to go. It needs to be something that advertises the NPA, brings people into the NPA. So I remember the rules are, I would not describe it as broad. If you have always had a really hard time spending your budget, because there's not much with it necessarily. And so, this matters on the NPA, I don't know, like.
But also like, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's mostly a reimbursement process for the NPAs. What happened recently with like wards 4 and 7, they had a really big community dinner yesterday that cost about $800. And instead of having someone pay that out of pocket, we worked with the vendor to pay the vendor directly. And then like using funds from the NPA's account. Yeah, I can look at the specific guidelines. I think the categories of what it would fall under is pretty general. Like people use them for community events or to fund projects within the community. Wards 2 and 3 often will come up with projects and then vote to fund different projects within the community. Maybe Charlie can speak more to that. Yeah, I can look them up. I don't have them right here, but one way people use it is food, childcare, meeting space, outreach, advertising, I guess, connected with that. Those are the general categories.
So you might be quite shocked at some of the things that money is spent on in the past. Because like, you'll have like, wards 2 and 3 that's funded all kinds of things. Like there's a path through a cemetery that we helped to upgrade a couple of years ago, for instance, which had nothing to do with it. And somehow, I think they're tightening up a little bit this year for the first time in ever, 30 years.
So wacky stuff going on too, right?
But like in counties like one night music events, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
And so the NPAs would pitch in like $400 or $500 or $600 or something. So there were a couple of those a couple of years ago. Then there's the big ramble. So there's a big, basically Old North End Festival. And so the NPA, but that's a little closer to the NPA training, so that they mentioned the NPA every time they get commercial. And they're not. So there's a lot of flexibility to use it, but basically, my thought is always that we should spend more money on NPA building events. Specifically designed to do that. But in the past, that money was used for a lot. So I like to recognize to have some kind of event to introduce people at the colleges or somewhere to come to a barbecue or something, and give out a lot of information.
So.
I think maybe Rob was on tape.
I don't know what it looks like, it just stressed me.
Or the library,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's like barbecue. Again, now it's way far.
Yeah.
Myself, but
Didn't realize we were on this. Yeah.
Jonathan.
Good. All right. Thank you all for coming. 4 days, March. NPA meeting. Thank you all.